These days, Nike's been retroing almost everything, including Gary Payton's first signature shoe, the glove. Well, actually, back in the day, in 1998, these shoes were called the ShoeZeum Flight 98s, but in the retro era, they're called the gloves. This was the first of four signature shoes worn by Gary Payton. Early on in his career, he was with the Seattle Supersonics, but he ended up playing for five different teams, and he won his first and only NBA championship with the Heat. We've got two pairs of gloves. One of them was inspired by the Heat, a pair of Air Force Ones inspired by this pair of gloves, and because this shoe was Miami Heat inspired, I wanted to use it as a transition to talk about a couple other Heat inspired shoes that were worn by Tim Hardaway. Back in the 90s, Gary Payton and Tim Hardaway were two unbelievable point guards, and they were big-time trash talkers too. Actually, a lot of people said that Payton was one of the best defensive players on Michael Jordan. But if you asked MJ, he would tell you that it was Joe Dumars. Come on over here and let's have a look at the very first of Payton's signature line, the glove. So you'll notice right away when you're looking at this shoe that there's a piece of Velcro right here that reveals a zipper, and when you unzip the shoe, you get the shoelaces. On the side, underneath, is a monkey paw. It says exoskeletal, and as you turn it around over here, it's going to say articulation 1.5. These were original features on the ShoeZeum Flight 98. This zipper was something that was popular in the late 90s. It was also on a shoe called a Flight Posit. Nike's been retroing the Flight Posit this year. We have a carbon fiber pair coming out, and we've also had Flight Posit exposed, and exposed means that there is no zipper on here. So, Gary Payton got his nickname, the glove, in 1993 when the Seattle Supersonics were playing the Phoenix Suns, and Payton's cousin said that Gary was sticking Kevin Johnson like a baseball in a glove. And that nickname stuck, and so now in the retro era, these shoes are called the gloves. Over here, we've got a pair of Air Force Ones that were inspired by this pair of the gloves. I got to pick them up and show them to you next to one another. Nike did a great job. The Air Force One looks just like the glove. Actually, when you look at this Air Force One, it's sort of reminiscent of the Scarface Air Force One, which is white and black with a little bit of red. But of course, because this shoe was inspired by the glove, you've got the same Velcro on here with the zipper that reveals the shoelaces. They did a great job on this shoe. Nike's been selling the glove for $145. The Air Force One edition is a whopping $180. Come on down here and look at the box on the Air Force One. Nike's calling this an Air Force One Low. CMFT means comfort. The LW, I don't think it's lightweight because the shoes are bricks. Perhaps it means low again, but that would be weird if they were redundant. GP is Gary Payton. SIG is signature shoe. I wish Nike would put together some sort of a chart that has all of these different abbreviations because they never explain themselves. Anyway, let's have a look at this pair, the all red with black and yellow, Miami Heat inspired. It's actually my favorite of all of the different glove shoes, and they've retroed this shoe in a lot of different colors, including a lot of the teams that Payton played for and his alma mater, Oregon State. But lately, with the hype of the red Yeezys, also the red Air Max 2009, the Toro Bravo 4 and 5, the infrared 6s, these really bright, all reddish colored shoes are very, very popular. And I'm surprised that this shoe didn't sell out right away. You can actually still pick it up at some retailers, and I would suggest you go ahead and do that because it's not going to be available forever, and I think it's going to be really desirable one day. So, from this pair of shoes inspired by the Heat, let's look at two other pairs of Heat-inspired shoes that were actually worn by Tim Hardaway. So early on, Tim Hardaway played with the Golden State Warriors, but he was traded a lot late in his career, just like Gary Payton, and he ended up playing for the Miami Heat, and when he played there, he actually wore a pair of these shoes, the Air Bacon, B-A-K-I-N, not bacon like the food. Mitch Richmond also wore a pair of these. They were blue. But this shoe was very popular in the late 90s. Come on over and have a look at them next to one another. We've done videos on this shoe before, so I'm going to keep it brief. The original edition of this shoe said Air on here in flames, and the shoes were recalled by Nike because Muslims complained that it looked like the word Allah on fire. Nike recalled them, put patches over the Air, and resold them at the outlet stores. In the retro era, they said Nike Air on here in an unoffensive font, the usual Nike Air font. Something interesting about this retro pair that came out in 2009, it was released around a time that Nike was changing boxes. The Nike sportswear boxes were becoming brown, but they used to be orange. And this pair of Bacons actually was released in both different boxes. Nowadays, the sportswear boxes look like this one. Anyway, in 2014, we're supposed to have Air Bacons retroed. We're also supposed to see Air Raids, which was another shoe worn by Tim Hardaway, and we're going to see it in the original Peace colorway, which is going to be amazing. It's very exciting that Nike's retroing a lot of these shoes, especially ones that people have never had their chance to get, and who knows, these might sell out now. For a while, they were just hitting the outlets before, but the hype is ridiculous these days.